We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 462, I believe. I'm your man behind the microphone and your current reigning Scholars of Wrestling Party Champion. I am Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, as always, the Scholars of Wrestling World Champion and the OG Undisputed Scholar. You know him. You love him. He smells faintly of MRE peaches. He is the lovely and effervescent Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are you feeling tonight, sir?
I'm feeling absolutely amazing. Yes, I am still your reigning, defending, undisputed Scholars of Wrestling heavyweight champion of the world. It feels so good to just be like, all right, Charlie, no. I am constantly denying you. As long as I'm champion, I am just making sure Charlie does not get one up me as much as he tries to.
But then again, I've got a good feeling you were, just admit, you were sweating there for a minute.
The only match that I was really sweating for when it came to predictions, let me quickly pull up the card because I'm trying to remember. Uh, it was Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. That was our that was the difference maker. If O'Reilly won, it would have been a tie and he would have cashed in. He kept constantly messaging me. He's like, "Oh, so I could cash in if I can cash in if Kyle O'Reilly wins, right?" And then literally O'Reilly loses. I'm like, "You could have if that was the case, but sorry."
Yeah, he reached out to, in all fairness, he did reach out to me too, just looking into that as for a rule check. But the result ended up occurring before we could ever get any sort of ruling on that. But yes, just within a hair's length, but you still did retain. So congratulations to you. But before we go any further, we would be remiss if we didn't introduce our third co-host for this evening. Last but certainly not least, he is the coach of the Scholars of Wrestling show. He is the one and only Scholar Jeremy. Scholar Jeremy, how's life treating you over there?
Pretty good. It's been a decent week. I'll get into Dynasty. I'll get into Dynamite. But all I want to say is you were sweating over Kyle O'Reilly, champ? Dude, if I
No,
picked House of Black, that would have been mine. The one time it was a four-way tie, 9 points. I have it right here. I know you can't see it unless you get close, but 9 points. If I had picked House of Black, that would have been mine. I
the title
had
wasn't on the
the
line.
common.
You would have
Really?
won, but yeah, the title wasn't on the line.
Who keeps fucking this crap? Every time I get this close to the title, you guys screw me over.
But
This is bull
here, oh
crap.
wait, Jeremy, I'm sure you're gonna
You didn't
like
tell me
this
that
though.
you didn't tell me the title was not on the line. You got to do that going forward.
Well, it'll make you feel better. I'm gonna give a congratulations to the two of you and my undisputed Scholar tag team partner, Scholar Brian, on a nice well, I guess four-way tie with us getting 9 points. And with that, I have a special announcement for you, gentlemen.
Do tell.
For WWE Backlash, I'm going to have Jeff versus Jeremy versus Brian, triple threat, number one contender for Goldie here. The winner of that match faces me at whatever the hell the next prediction show is. I don't know if it's I don't know, whatever the next prediction show is going to be. I don't know if it's
Double
a
or nothing.
WWE show or uh
I think it's. I think it's
AEW
double or
show.
nothing.
Is it double?
Ooh.
Okay. Predictions
I
at
think so.
the winner faces me for this championship, or in case Charlie cashes in on me at Backlash, number one contender, triple threat. No matter which one of you guys win, you will get a championship. You will be the next in line for a championship match. Whoever the champion is, you guys get the championship opportunity.
Number one match for Backlash in France. Allons-y. Let's do it.
See, I
Yeah.
told you, you would like it.
Hey, any
The chip.
chance I've get to add to my wonderful gold collection of belts and championships and accolades. It's going to be a delightful time, and I will happily accept your challenge, sir.
So in that case, good luck to you, gentlemen, for Backlash. And I'll just add some more stakes for the Scholars of Wrestling show for Backlash.
That's what we do around here. We like to keep it interesting. But speaking of keeping it interesting, from the last week that was, AEW apparently likes to do a good job of keeping things interesting ourselves. So as we go through the week that was, we got to talk about AEW Dynasty, the first of its kind, with, I think we'll agree, has not only a memorable title change, but what might very well be an early contender for match of the year. Scholar Jeremy, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. Would you care to go first and gush on your boy Ospreay?
Yeah, my very non-overrated boy, by the way. But from beginning to end, it was a great pay-per-view. Like, I'm just looking at the card right now. So starting with Trent, defeating Matt Sydal was predictable. You had Shibata and Cassidy winning. Bullet Club Gold, I was cheering. That was very well done. That had me sweating for a little bit because I thought they were gonna have Billy Gunn pin Jay White, and I was gonna be like, okay, who did he piss off? Like, that was one of the big concerns. Okada versus Pac, way to start the show. Love it. House of Black versus the three champs. I should have gone with the house who always wins. I'm still kicking myself. The one time I don't pick the house.
I
Will
know
beating
better.
Julia was, yeah. Roderick versus Kyle was good, and it's my opinion. I thought it was a good, like, the beginning was a little slow, but then it really picked up at the end. Jericho versus Hook. Great match. Did not see that ending. Did not see it coming at all.
I did not see that coming either. I'm very curious to know how many people would have actually called that one.
I should have. Thunder versus Tony, I was so mad at because I lost because of a certain type of punt, which I don't want to play on, but that pissed me off a little bit. She had her, and Tony takes a cheap way out. So then, here's what it comes down to. The only thing I would have changed about the pay-per-view is I would have done ladder match, Ospreay, and then Joe versus Swerve. Because Ospreay versus Danielson took everything out of me. Like, everything. That match of the century. They hit every note, every move. Great storytelling from beginning to end and post match. After that, I was done. You could have called the pay-per-view there, and I would have been, I'm done. Let me go to bed. I had no energy for the ladder match, and I had like a little bit of energy for Swerve and Joe, but just I had nothing after Ospreay and Danielson. Nothing left. Good pay-per-view, and if it was going to come down to anything, I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
I'm glad you are the one to say that because I'm a I'm a little ashamed to admit. After Ospreay versus Danielson, I literally passed out. Like, I fell asleep, and I wanted to see the other ones, but considering I just saw match of the year, most likely I am okay with this. But at the same time, I paid for the pay-per-view and I want to see all the wrestling that I can out of it. But at the same time, what I got was extremely satisfying. The only issue was just the overall length of the entire show. The content was great. It was just way too long. And I'm going to join you on that. I'm going to go 4 out of 5, full beard. Phenomenal match. You're definitely getting your money's worth. A little too long. Could be a little bit snappier. Maybe cut a couple match or two off. But other than that, no complaints whatsoever. Full beard, 4 out of 5. Cool.
It's also
Tagging you
because
in. Yes.
I was going to say real quick, it's because it depends on the time zone they're in. So, because they're in St. Louis, they're a couple hours behind New Jersey. That's why they extend the length.
Oh, get out of here with your logic.
I've been doing some research. Leave me alone. Anyway, but.
Stop making sense. Look at you with your big brain.
Ooh. Tagging the champ.
Tarek, tagging in the champ. Your thoughts on AEW Dynasty?
Well, it's going to be a very challenging go for the rest of the year to top Ospreay and Danielson as my match of the year, because the only thing you can really say about that match was just you can tell both guys were having the time of their lives, because it wasn't just a dream match for us, the fans. It was a dream match for both of these guys, and their entire performance, like just chef's kiss. It was a masterpiece. And I even said on the prediction show last week, I knew I was going to be wrong by predicting Danielson. I only picked him because I just knew that they were going to continue the story or the feud between the Don Callis family and Blackpool Combat Club. But the ending that they did on this one actually really worked on the fact of, Ospreay won decisively. He was in killer mode by the end of the match, but the Tiger Driver on Danielson, leading him to basically have that little the little spasms there. It was good character work on showing how Ospreay is just like, I respect the hell out of this guy. The fact that I wasn't trying to hurt him as badly as I actually did end up hurting him, it shows, he is in line for being the top baby face of this brand, of this company. Mm-hmm. And even though I knew I was going to lose, I'm very glad how that match ended up. I wasn't predicting it just because I hate Will Ospreay as much as it's like Charlie is. I love Will Ospreay. I love everything. I'm kind of disappointed that, I guess this is just throwing of what they have at Dynamite, him going after the international title, because I'm just now convinced he's not going to win that one. Just because I think he deserves better. Like I'm saying he's going to be world champion by the end of the year, just after this performance. As for the rest of the show, the only match that really disappointed me is really just the results of Willow Nightingale winning the TBS championship, because it's only just because I want to see her defeating a heel Mercedes Moné, which it looks like they're heading towards that direction of turning her heel. And with what they're going, it seems like they're going to just have this be a transitional champion type ordeal. And I feel like Willow deserves a lot better than that. And that's the only real criticism I had with this. Other than that, I really don't have any criticism. I mean, one thing, I didn't watch the show live, so that maybe worked better in my case. Continuing onto the show after the Ospreay Danielson, because I wasn't exhausted how you guys were. So I'm with that said. Oh, before I gave my rate, I was going to give my rating, but I'm like, I feel like I'm forgetting something. But I think the big highlight here, other than the Ospreay Danielson match, was the return of Jack Perry to AEW television. I will say, I am, as much as I hate them showing that CM Punk All In video, it did end up working in Jack Perry's favor, because now he's a star. He is it raised his stock greatly, to the point where we'll talk about Dynamite a little later, but I was just him, my idea of having him come back and join up with Christian, what they're doing now just blows that out of the water. I am super excited on where they're going to go with this new elite team. And okay, now that I've added that, I'll give my rating. I'm going to give it a very high 4. Like with Jeremy, 4.5 show, because I do agree. It's the criticism that we always have for these AEW shows, that you definitely feel the length.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the guy who went to WrestleMania 35, and while everyone else is complaining about the length, I was like, I was perfectly fine. Maybe it's just because I was there as the experience, but I'm just, from watching this, I'm just like, yeah, throwing these double digit match cards, you definitely feel it, especially when you have the 0 hour show. You definitely feel it.
And you know
That's like,
what's really jumps out to me during this whole thing about the length, and not even just the length, but also just having a match like Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay on the card. Nowhere, correct me if I'm wrong, but nowhere here did I hear any of us even mention Swerve beating Samoa Joe for the AEW championship. We got Swerve winning the world championship. A new champion is crowned, but we didn't even get to that because half of us were just asleep at the wheel and we're just crashing.
Honestly, I'm kind of saving that for when
swear
we
while we're
talk
driving.
Dynamite. I'm saving that for when we talk Dynamite, because
All right then.
I have something to say, and it's ugh.
It's all
Fair
good.
enough.
I mean, I'm
Well,
happy
obviously,
I'm happy Swerve won, and that was the
me
right
too.
choice. But the follow up is not exactly the something I would have gone.
I think I see where you're going at, but at least at the very least, seems like we definitely have a consensus on the rating of the show as a whole. But
I just
before
did
we
have
get, yes,
one little thing. So the only other minor criticism I could have about Dynasty or the AEW pay-per-views is you don't need to do an hour and a half pre-show, because I've watched all the last pay-per-views and it starts at 6:30. It's a half hour's worth of just friggin' video packages, and buy the pay-per-view. You can get it here, get it here. I'm like, Tony, start at 7, start the matches there. You don't need the extra half hour wasting time. If you're gonna do that, dump it onto the pay-per-view. Sorry, that's just, it's starting to get a little
I
irksome where
get
I'm
it. I
like,
get it.
dude, you don't do anything for half a friggin' hour. Why am I watching this? Come on.
I also will say I am super happy that Jay White and pinned Billy Gunn. It was very poetic. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that
So
was just
good.
them apologizing. I'm sorry for that bullshit singles match between Billy Gunn and Jay White, whatever amount of weeks ago that was. Because yay.
That's contender for need some clear liquid after that one. I don't know what happened
Mm-hmm.
there. That was a tough moment.
Ugh, I hate it.
Woof.
Very much wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Well, steering away from AEW for a minute before we get to Dynamite, we also had a pretty decent Monday Night Raw coming at us, where a new women's world champion rather, excuse me, was crowned in Becky Lynch. I know a lot of us were kind of pulling for Liv Morgan to win this one, but I ain't mad at that. What was your reaction to this title win?
Another title
Since
win.
I'm sorry. Like, I love Becky Lynch. You didn't need the belt again. You give it to someone else. It's just
Like
I saw
I'm
the
looking I'm looking forward to what she did with the NXT. I'm looking forward to like her doing what she did with the NXT women's title. But I mean, as long as Liv gets the title before Rhea Ripley comes back, okay.
It does make sense if they're setting up some matches between Liv and Becky Lynch, like you said, before Rhea Ripley comes back. But I don't know. I'm glad you all that you also put it the way you did, because it seemed like something was lacking from it. Like, again, I like Becky Lynch just fine, but it wasn't that sort of like wow, fresh and new. It didn't have that wow factor that I think a part of me was expecting. Like, oh yeah, the man yada yada wins another match. There was a certain freshness was lacking from it.
I have my own feelings on that, but what did you think about that? I want to hear more about like what Jeremy was gonna say before I realized I cut him off.
No, you're perfectly
I'm
fine.
sorry.
It's just no, it's just it's the old saying of WWE is such a pool full of young talent, which they could like just even if it's transitional for like 3, maybe 6 months, just put the belt on someone new. Because like I'm sorry, but that's one of the things that drives me crazy. It's the same friggin' people over and over again. When Rhea defeated was was Becky at Mania? That's how bad my memory is.
Yes.
I'm like,
It
okay,
was
good.
Rhea and
She just
Becky Mania.
I'm like, okay, good. She established herself. Who's the next big one? Who can we can do Liv Morgan? We can do. I'm just throwing names out there. Bianca Belair. We could do. We could put her up against Oscar. We could throw her against all these other names and just be like, put it back to Becky. And I'm like, thank God they didn't put on Charlotte because that would have been me having a shit fit tonight. So
I thought she was gonna do. I thought Charlotte was coming back, but she actually posted something on her Instagram of the women's world title. I was like, oh,
I
uh-oh. But
I was like, no, no.
I think the one with Jeff, when you said that you feel like there was something missing, and reacting to what Jeremy said is give it to someone new. The only real defense I have for that is when you actually look at that. When you look at that battle royal, there really wasn't that many established stars other than Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, and Becky Lynch. Those three were the biggest names in this match, and everyone else were very mid to low card, who basically are just bodies there. But I will say it did definitely gave potential for someone, specifically Piper Niven, in a potential first person to fight Becky Lynch for that world title, because Becky eliminated her, and her response was, well, I'm going to now, you eliminated me, I'm going to beat the shit out of you for it. So hopefully this is now something, it's a stepping stone to put these women into these positions where, yeah, you don't need the title to put on good stories and to put on good WWE television, but now Becky is in this position where she can give these women the spotlight and connect with the crowd to something they haven't reached already. Actually, that's pretty much it. It's now an opportunity. Like I said, it's what she did with the NXT women's title. Give these women the spotlight to establish themselves. I mean, look what happened with Tiffany Stratton with that feud with Becky had with the NXT women's title. It's just now on the main roster level with main roster with the main roster belt. But could they have added more stars to this match? Absolutely. In all honesty, they probably could have. They've had SmackDown and Raw superstars fight for the men's world title. They could have easily done the same thing with the women's. Just grab some women from SmackDown and have them go at it. Do you not want to do you not want to hurt these women by them losing? Possibly. But we're coming to the point where I believe tomorrow is the start of the WWE Draft.
Indeed it is. And we're going to be touching on that one too.
It's because the NFL is doing their draft too, so they wanted to do it at the same time. Basically, have one big draft weekend for different things. That makes sense. But so, if that's the case, you could have started that. It's like, oh, here's someone like Asuka, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, not Bailey because she's any other member of Damage Control. I'm trying to think who else is huh?
Dakota Kai, Io Sky. I'm always going to call
Damage Control. I'm trying to think what other Zelina Vega.
There you go. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you.
Is just you could have other big names, especially the established stars, Bianca, Jade. I just named them. I'm not going to name them again. But yeah, I think that's just the fact that it's just the Raw women fighting for the title, and only 3 of them are really the established names. Definitely made the choice. I'm like, okay, it's definitely not going to be Maxine. It's definitely not going to be Chelsea Green, even though that would have been just a hilarious. I would have just rolled on the floor laughing if Chelsea Green like told a surprise upset victory. It's like she gets thrown out of the middle rope and she's like out the entire match, and it's Becky's win. She just throws her out.
I think she needs a little bit more build to do that.
Oh no,
it's not the worst
she's a
thing
comedy character. She's a comedy character.
Mm-hmm.
She's not winning the women's world title. No, absolutely not. But it would have been just hilarious, or just another accidental victory, something similar to what Lana did before she left. But yeah, all in all, as much as I would love to just have our Jersey girl Liv win to raise the stocks, keep the storyline going, possibly steal Dominic Mysterio from Rhea Ripley to keep that add more fuel to that fire, which I'm still thinking that's going to happen. Liv Morgan is going to take Dom because Dom needs a new mommy.
Does he though?
Of course he does. Of course he does. And having Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley's like #1 rival, not only take her out of the picture, but steal the boy toy. Yes, absolutely. It's great. I think that would just be hilarious. I want to see that happen so bad. But yeah, Liv will get the title very soon because Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan is the match that we're all wanting to see. And who knows how long she'll be back because they say maybe 3 to 4 months. I don't know. During that time, Becky can try to do what Seth Rollins was doing with the world title, except not have me predict her to lose every single title match she's in.
Oh boy. But then again, that isn't even the biggest thing upcoming that has caught my eye, or at least not the only one, because we got our first declarations to the upcoming King of the Ring and Queen's Crown Queen of the Ring tournament. And it's interesting. At first, I had a conversation with my wife. Oh, hey, who do you think could possibly win King of the Ring? Oh, it could be this person, it could be that person. And then right out of the gate, we get the announcement that Gunther is whatever you want to call him.
He's winning.
It's like is it just me, or did this take all the drama out of the King of the Ring? Like, is it that obvious?
I wouldn't say they took the drama out. What it really did is just establish that, unlike what Vince McMahon did with his King of the Ring, Triple H, Paul Levesque, is being dead serious with this King of the Ring. Because you have someone like Gunther announcing, but you also have Drew McIntyre. You have Sheamus saying they're going to put. You're getting these big names in this tournament. And they say the winner gets a title shot, which is what the original concept of the King of the Ring was back in the 90s. So it's not just a gimmick change. It's not just getting a crown or a robe like that. Oh yeah, Xavier Woods too, but who are we kidding? He's probably not going to make it past the first round.
I will say, I really hope he does, just to make sure it's like, okay, it's not just like a secondary thing for him, because I know that he really loved what the King of the Ring was, and I'm glad that they publicly announced that, yeah, he is the previous King of the Ring, and he's automatically in this thing. He's done before. I stands a chance of doing it again. Like, I'm glad they gave him a little bit of shine, just to say, yeah, Xavier Woods, former King of the Ring, he's the incumbent. Don't sleep on the guy.
I will say, when I was watching that segment with Gunther announcing, and then New Day comes out and essentially make fun of him for losing the Intercontinental Championship, I would just be like, dude, my response, dude, you won the King of the Ring, and what happened to that? Absolutely nothing, except Roman Reigns taking your crown and stomping on it. Yeah, you're basically like the relic of Vince McMahon's view of the King of the Ring. I'm still happy that he won it because of how much the King of the Ring means to him, but he won it at a time when the King of the Ring was a joke. It was basically like how some people views the Survivor Series match, how it's just such an old time and that there's no real significance to it. So, and I feel like that's the same thing. You had Xavier win it. He continued the joke of like, I am royalty. I am the king of the ring. I change my entire look in order to fit this royal gimmick. And Roman was just like, I will shut that shit down because no one likes this interpretation of the king of the ring. I'm sorry, but you're like, the king of the ring is something special that helps elevate talent. At least that's what it used to be. And again, what did you do other than just basically get completely destroyed and made to look like a bitch by the tribal chief?
I can't really take that out on Xavier because it seems like he was ready, willing, and able to just like do everything he could for that, including getting some fresh new theme music, which I absolutely loved. But I really take it as more just like it's more of a consequence of Vince McMahon's whims than anything else, where it's just like, okay, we did this thing now, moving on, write it off. We gotta make Roman look strong, blah 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 blah. I blame more Vince McMahon than I do Xavier Woods. To me, he's doing everything.
I agree. I don't take it anything from Xavier, but in a kayfabe sort of way, I'm just like, well, you say you're going to do something with this, and all you did was just you lose your crown. And I thought Shinsuke stealing what was it, Sheamus's crown?
I believe that's right.
I believe so.
It's like stealing Sheamus's crown. It's what's worse is they were fighting for a crown. You were fighting just to keep it relevant, and Roman Reigns was just like, no. Sorry, kayfabe wise, yes, it's that gay, but like what it means to him, the person, I completely understand, and it was something out of his control. You're absolutely right about that. It's what happens when you have an almost 70-year-old man who hates tournaments, basically shit on this tournament, shit on this concept, and now we're going back to basics with this new King of the Ring, because now it's like winner gets a championship opportunity. Who I don't know when. Maybe that's something similar to Money in the Bank, is just having it do whenever they want, or maybe even at the next show. Which, who am I kidding? It's probably going to be at
Clash of the Castle.
No, the one that's in Berlin.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Oh, what is the name of that one? Oh, this is gonna bother me. Oh, shit. I gotta look this up.
Everyone to the phones.
Everyone to our phones. But yes, Gunther all the way. All hail the future King General.
Bash in Berlin. There we go.
Bash in Berlin. Thank you.
That was an easy guess.
But yeah, I guess a quick scholar's quick talk just to bring it all full circle before we move on. With the announcement of Gunther in the King of the Ring, is it just a foregone conclusion now that he's going to win the entire thing, knowing what we know?
Hell yeah. He's the only one that should win it.
I think so, but I think Drew could be a strong contender. Don't shoot me. I'm just saying that I just feel he could be a very strong contender to win. Yeah, I do think Drew. Yeah, those two would be, because after
Punk's gonna screw him out of it.
I'm gonna get Punk in the face.
So Punk's gonna screw him out of. I don't know if it's gonna be in the finals or whatnot. If the finals is gonna be just the rematch of Drew McIntyre versus Gunther, but no matter what, Punk's gonna screw him out of this, because that's the direction of where Drew's going. The eventual possible SummerSlam match between him and Punk.
And then hopefully Punk gets his head kicked off.
And there you go. Early ballots have been cast, but
flipping back, breaking up.
I don't think it's so much an Imperium breaking up. I think it's more just getting rid of Giovanni Vinci and possibly bringing in a new third member to Imperium. But
which is I bring a Scholar's Quick Talk. Who do you think that'll be? My guess is probably Dijak.
Oh, that's a good pick. I like that.
Mm,
Imperium. Yeah,
oh,
I
I
got
know
no
who
one
it's
off the
gonna
top of
be.
my head, right?
Oh, I do.
Ooh, who we got?
There's one very perfect name that everyone has overlooked. I can't believe everyone has overlooked this. He's the perfect name to add to Imperium. I think you'll agree with me. Alex Wright.
Hmm.
I mean, it's Alex Wright.
I
Alex
think.
Wright.
I mean, I know like the big name going around is. I'm just ignoring you now, fool. I'm ignoring that.
Alex Wright.
I know people have been saying they want to see Ilya Dragunov, but I don't want to see
Oh,
him in
no.
that. I don't. I wanted him to be his own.
Alex Wright. Okay, in all seriousness, yeah, I don't think Ilya Dragunov would really fit. He's too much. He's too much of his own thing, and I think they would need more of a mid card guy to fill that void. Otherwise, you're just having someone deliberately clash with Gunther.
Mhm.
I mean, if you
I can give you.
want to set that up for the near future, you could. But frankly, I think they have enough in mind that they want to do with Gunther. I don't think it's going to be him.
I could give you someone.
Fire away.
No longer make him a backstage face. Bring Nick Aldis up to Imperium. Freaking Magnus. Come on, bring him up.
As fun
He's
as
an amazing star. It's not a bad call. I just came to me like, come
oh
on,
no,
you get a Brit
it's not a bad.
with an Austrian. Come on, you can't beat that. Come on.
It's not a bad call. I actually really like that, but I also just love I love his authority figure story. I love his authority
Yes.
figure character. He's he's so much better than Adam Pierce. He's one of the
Thank
reasons why
you.
I still watching.
Thank you. I can't stand Adam Pierce. He drives me crazy. Oh my god, I see him on screen. I'm like, dude, just please shut up. Please shut up. Uh
That would be a fun one though.
yeah, that would be some shit right there.
But it's probably this a similar argument what Jeff is. It's just I feel like that would be more of a constant like bickering
Alex, right?
between the big stars. It's like now just it's not about Gunther and his followers. It's just two big ones like trying to grab the power of Imperium.
Mm.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes, and it's definitely one of the more intriguing storylines I'll be paying attention to in the weeks ahead. But speaking of intriguing storylines, we gotta switch it back over to AEW briefly because, as we alluded to on this past week in Dynamite, we got the newest development in the Jack Perry story. Something I personally never thought I'd ever see. Jack Perry attacks Tony Khan, punches him in the stomach, and then the Bucks come out and they give a good old pile driver to Tony Khan. Pandemonium ensues. The backstage area empties, including Shad Khan as the show goes off the air. We now have a bigger picture of what we're going to be getting out of AEW releasing the footage, and you let me know what you think, but frankly, I feel so much better about AEW airing the footage now. It could have gone either way. It could have been airing the footage was still a massive gamble, but given what we got and what we're seeing currently, at this point, I'm just glad it worked out seemingly for the best. What do you think?
I'll be honest, Dynamite was on fire this week. It was one of the better episodes I've seen in the last couple of months. Like watching Dynamite, it's just they've been very up and down. It's a good episode. Sometimes it flounders, but just from beginning to end, it was just such a good show. You had like Anna Jay versus Mina Shirakawa, my new queen. Oh my god, please, Tony
Thank you.
Khan,
Props
sign
to
her.
Mina. Oh, come on.
Sign her,
Mina's already
please.
in. She's unofficial. I don't care what anybody says. Mina's in.
Oh, so good. There was just Swerve Strickland versus Kyle Fletcher. Not the best start for the champ. I think
Mhm.
Yeah, he needed a bit more
mm,
oomph to kick off his reign. Much honestly, it gave me very similar vibes to what they did at the start of the year when Samoa Joe just kicked off his reign. And then Tark and I were there and we're like, okay, where's the champ? Where's the new champ? We got at least this time we got Swerve in a match, but ideally, yeah, he should have been just had a talking segment and just celebrating with his title.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
because all I was gonna say was I'm sorry, Kyle Fletcher, I love you, but you're a jobber on AEW. Ring of Honor, you win. You're the World Television Champion, but on AEW TV, you're a jobber, and it sucks because you got so much talent. But good.
Oh no, I was just really agreeing with it. The difference between Swerve's title win and then Samoa Joe's win is one thing. On a positive note, at least he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I do agree. It should have been a talking segment. Hell, you could have had Prince Nana had established a celebration, just balloons and all that. Just have it be a big title celebration and leading to whatever his first opponent's going to be. Which apparently now they're saving that for next week. But the big thing that really has a problem with me is as you put it, Kyle, you're facing someone like Kyle Fletcher. Yes, it shows that as long as you're a part of the Don Callis family, you will get opportunities to fight champions, which one thing about this Dynamite, it was a very Don Callis family heavy show. And I think that actually works in its favor because it's just continuing to rise the stocks of not just the family, but just the big storyline picture between the inevitable breakup between them and Will Ospreay. And the match that Fletcher had with Swerve, the main focus was on Fletcher. It really wasn't about Swerve Strickland and his title win. He was just there. And that's the big problem is that when you have the champion in a match, but he's not the focus point, to the point where the world champion doesn't feel like the world champion. He's not the main focus of your product, which Jack Perry and the Elite, that's your main story. The Don Callis family, because they had such a strong presence on this show, they're more of a presence than the champion. You have someone who had such a great world title win, but people still love Swerve, but he lost some steam here. He's still getting good positive vibes, reactions from the crowd, but it kind of dwindled because you have someone like Will Ospreay really taking that heat while cooling down Swerve to the point where the world champion feels like a mid-card champion.
And you
Hell,
said it perfectly. I didn't want to say it, but you said it.
I'm watching it. I watch Dynamite and I'm just going, why do I feel like Swerve Strickland's not important right now? He's the world champion. Why aren't we doing anything with this? Why aren't we having that that world champion celebration to start the show?
Thankfully, it does look like we're going to be getting that on Collision this week, which
better
late than
there
never,
is that,
I suppose.
I guess, but don't make this feel like when Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship and he was facing lower to mid card guys and bigger names are taking the main event. Stop cooling down the steam that the popularity that Swerve is getting, especially now that he's the world champion. Give us he won the championship. Give him a nice solid direction against the bigger names to make it feel like, okay, he's the champion. Treat him like it. And
I agree.
I hope this is just a fluke thing, because the number one.
I do think it is.
I hope so.
Given that we're getting that big championship celebration on Collision, yeah, it would have been great if it was on Dynamite. It probably should have been, but thankfully, it seems like we're seeing like a little bit of course correction in real time, where it seems like okay, the booking sheet. The main focus was all about Jack Perry But now we can't possibly forget the AEW champion. So now, come Collision, it's going to be all about Swerve. At least that's
I
my
hope
hope.
so.
I agree with that because you think about it, you do have a point where if say Swerve did a celebration and then they have what happened at the ending with Jack Perry, he's gonna get overshadowed no matter what. So they figure, okay, give him a match. Let's just do a match for him and then let's give him the celebration because Tony Khan has something bigger planned and he blew it out of the water that night. Like, oh my god, like that ending, holy. Shad Khan came out and Carly Bravo looks at him and just goes like, "Oh, I'm like, I was very satisfied. Like he bumps better than Vince McMahon and Tony Khan. You did it. You did it very, very well. Oh my God. Like
Although I do find it hilarious that Jack Perry hits him in the stomach, and when I see Tony Khan's reaction, it just makes me think of like something in the Batman Arkham games where you have Batman punch the guy in the stomach, but yet you have the bad guy going, "Oh," like he hit him in the head.
Ragdolls.
I will take.
I'm not criticizing. I actually found that
No,
hilarious, and it just makes, and I just like Tony Khan is excited to take his actual first bump, and he's basically selling it as just a guy. He's like, it's so good. Oh no, I'm stomach down here. I'm just like, he's so adorable. Tony Khan is he's such a wrestling fan that it's just, I look at him like, I love this guy. He's such a dork, and I love him.
I will definitely take that over Vince McMahon's first stunner bump. Oh my God, I will take that any day.
The stunner seizure.
Doesn't even land properly. Oh my God, I was
terrible,
dying.
but I'll be honest, I kind of love that sell of the stunner where he's just
Fair.
like seizure. It's not the best, but it's so bad it's good. Like that's just
it's better than his last Stone Cold Stunner where he completely collapsed and Austin had to pick him back up. I still think of that video of Mick Foley watching it and just laughing his ass off.
That never should have happened. That was terrible.
It was terrible. But hey, we would, like I said, we would never gotten a great Mick Foley basically in tears laughing how bad it was.
But we did overshadow one thing that happened on Dynamite. We have the return of Kenny Omega next week. Yes!
That is encouraging given what we saw on this week's Dynamite and how it all ended. I have my suspicions where this may not be the full-on announcement of like in-ring competition Kenny Omega, just because I was under the impression that the recovery timeline was going to be a little bit longer than this, if ever.
I've heard that too.
Or maybe he's just playing with us and he's actually okay. Whatever the case may be, I'm thinking this is most likely going to be a rallying cry to the AEW roster, a battle cry, if you will, saying that, okay, this is what the stakes are. This is the line in the sand. Stand against the corruption of AEW. Stand up for the company that gave you a shot and gave you something to believe in, or play it safe and stand with the elite so you don't risk your getting fired. Like I think battle lines are drawn that way. I think this could have the potential to have some really interesting developments.
I think he's going to come back he's going to come back just to get destroyed by the new elite. Just to continue rising the threat of the new elite. Especially now it's like, oh yeah, we have Okada, your number one enemy in our group. So, and we're all just going to destroy you. And I'm still waiting for Adam Page to return.
Like, I would be okay with that. And speaking of Adam Page, here's my theory because I slept on it. And then literally I'm like, okay, what would I want to see? Even though I get a lot of crackpot theories, if Tony Khan did this, I would lose my shit. So Kenny gets destroyed. You build this up, probably we'll say to the end of the year. And we'll say, World's End, Kenny finally gets fed up and he's like, all right, Elite, let's settle this once and for all. You got 4 guys. You got me, and I'll pick 3 others. And then I got 3 others, and we'll settle this once and for all. Well, who you got, Kenny? You gonna get Coda? No, you've already beat. Like he'll bring Coda. He'll lose that whole thing. Kenny then goes, you know what? You're not going to be dealing with the one-winged angel. You're going to be dealing with the cleaner. And I think it's time to put the band back together, i.e., you team up heel Kenny Omega with Jay White, Adam Page, and Adam Cole. And you put the Bullet Club back together for one night only to take on the Elite. Boom.
As fun as
Think
that
of,
would
they're
be.
all just think
I
that
think
would
Oh, I don't. As fun as that would be, I don't think that would happen. Honestly, I'm even looking at this more as like you're gonna get Kenny Omega coming in. He's gonna talk about how he's just disappointed of what's going on with the Elite. They're gonna set up to attack him, and it looks like, and we're gonna get a returning Adam Page to look like he's got his back, but then he joined them. I'm looking at heel Adam Page. They're all joining the Elite, taking out Kenny Omega, and I see them taking all the gold. I could see Adam Page taking the world title and give Jack Perry either the TNT or the international title. Probably the TNT title because, you know, we have a face champion in Adam Copeland. Just to continuing the rise of this threat of this new Elite. And yeah, as fun as I would love to see a reuniting Bullet Club, I just, because they're doing their own, some of these guys are doing their own thing, it's probably not going to be the case. But we'll probably get like Team AEW. Yeah, we're probably going to get a blood and guts match with like, trying to think. Team AEW is like, you'll probably get like Swerve Strickland, Danielson, Ospreay, Moxley. Essentially, it's like, yeah, essentially Blackpool Combat Club. But you definitely have this like Team AEW versus Team Elite, and like it's all leading to this match at a blood and guts match, which is going to be just a blast.
I agree with that. With like the Elite taking all the gold, I'm just more pissed that I think they should have done it with the Undisputed Kingdom because they flushed him down the toilet. I'm so disappointed in that whole like setup and everything. Like I could rant about this, but I don't want to.
I lost my shit on the show that Jeff and I went to at Prudential, but just because they introduced Undisputed Kingdom, and I was, they're undisputed, just like me.
Oh no, it wasn't just the words, it was also the emphasis. It was, they're undisputed, just like me. It was just like time slowed down.
It's really now that Adam Cole is not bound to a wheelchair and back on his feet, I could definitely see the Undisputed Kingdom slowly like trying to get fire back from whatever like happened to them. But that's what happens when you have the two stars of that storyline both out with him and MJF. And who knows when the hell MJF is going to return? Because he was injured too, or was he just taking the time off after he lost the belt?
His is the shoulder injury.
Okay.
His shoulder was being held on by a thread. So he needed to drop the title and he needs a lot of recovery time. So he tore.
Okay.
It's still it's the one in the arm begins with an L. I can't think of the word, but he tore that. So it's going to be a long.
Okay, so yeah, I guess he's not coming back anytime soon. So
no, and he deserves it after everything he's worked. It's just
Now we're getting some kind of storyline now that again Adam Cole showed up at Dynasty. Was it Dynasty?
Dynasty.
And you even get that subtle hint of him side-eyeing Wardlow.
That was the look. I saw the look and I was like, okay.
Now Adam it looks Cole. Like they're doing something, and I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. But I don't recall them. Did they do any other than setting up the #1 contender? Did they really do anything with? I'm trying to remember. Did they do anything with Undisputed Kingdom this past week? I'm drawing a brain fart on it. So just
They had it. They
So
had a chance to put him in the tag title tournaments, but you gave it to the fucking Elite again, which is still. I'm sorry, but you should have given it to Taven and Bennett.
but hey, okay, well,
Anyway,
that's what happens when
it
you
came to
lose
a better
three.
head. Yeah.
It's to be fair, now it's in a better storyline because this storyline is just absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see where they go with that. And hopefully, whatever it is they're doing with the Undisputed Kingdom after what happened at Dynasty. Great. Now I'm just going to keep calling it that now. But hopefully we'll get to something eventually. Maybe on Collision, maybe next week. I don't know.
I think we're going to see more development across the board, but either way, there's still a lot to look forward to as far as AEW is concerned. But before we close it out for this week, we would be remiss if we didn't address the WWE Draft, which by the time this episode goes live, we're going to be in the middle of the WWE 2024 Draft. And I guess that begs the question, before we kick things off on SmackDown this week, where do you see everyone else going? Are there any place else you can see people headed to one show or another? Or is there some place you would like to see people in a perfect world go to? What are your thoughts?
I'm so far out of the WWE loop that I don't have much to say about the draft. So
Okay, how about Fool? How about you? Do you have anything to kick us off?
Honestly, I kind of don't, because it's a very hard pool because I'm all like the rosters do need a change, but then there's also like they also don't. I mean, I don't know. It's a real toss because the only in all
Well,
honesty,
how
the only
about
people that I could really see going are just like probably just call ups from NXT, really. Or in some cases call downs, because I think Karrion Cross and I like this stable and I keep forgetting their names. The Final
Final
Testament?
final
Testament, Authors of
final testament.
Pain? Yeah.
Yeah. I see they're the only people that I see going from the main roster back down to NXT. I see Baron Corbin coming back up, and could he
For
beat
sure.
could he reunite with Braun Breaker and run that tag division? Sure.
Unless they've got something serious for Braun Breaker, they may actually want to reintroduce the tag team just to buy Braun Breaker some time. Or
Like I don't want to
anybody some
like
time, really.
if that's the case, like I would rather see him on, if they're going to do something singles run with Braun Breaker, like keep him on SmackDown, since that's what he officially got called up to, and have him just have a United States Championship run with after Logan Paul. Like I see LA Knight jumping to Raw now that I'm like more thinking about it. I think LA Knight would do wonders on Raw. Then there's nothing really more else you can do on SmackDown, because he's been on SmackDown for, I think, coming on to 2 years. And unless he wins the United States Championship, I could just see him being one that's traded to Raw and being a good face of Raw, because I don't see Jey Uso being the quote unquote face of Monday Night Raw.
This just popped into my mind. I don't have any specific reasoning for it. It just popped into my mind. For some reason, I'm getting an image of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn being sent up to Raw. I don't know what's making me think of that, but I
I can
feel
see
like
it.
they're gonna put the two of them on one of the big two. Like they've got to have something for those ladies, and I feel like it's going to happen with this WWE draft.
Girls, hell yeah, dude. Let's go for it.
Maybe. It's a
Yeah, I'm trying. I feel like
it's
there's
very
gonna
interesting.
be one or two more call ups from NXT, and at least one of them being the ladies. I've got a feeling that Ilya Dragunov is probably going to show up
Oh yeah.
somewhere.
Mhm.
My guess is probably on SmackDown. Uh, as far as the ladies, I feel like someone is due to be called up. I just because that Roxanne Perez is the current champion. I feel like I don't know. I feel like she would theoretically be the one most likely to be called up, but I feel like the only way she does it if she takes the NXT championship with her and then she just does the occasional appearance down in NXT until she drops it. Like, I don't know what to think about that because I really don't think there's any other ladies who are really due to be called up. The only other ladies I can think of being called up are either Kiana James or Fallon Henley. And I feel like if they call up Fallon Henley, they'll probably want to call up the rest of her, like, barroom boys or whatever. I don't see Fallon Henley being called up alone.
Why couldn't they just send Cameron Grimes back to NXT instead of firing him?
Yeah.
This is the one thing I'll say about it, about all the releases. I feel like when it comes to all the people who got released, they were all people who weren't currently being used on television. That's really the only main unifying presence I see, including Von Wagner. Speaking of NXT, which I was never a big fan of his. He just looked like he just never hooked me. He just like had an interesting look, and that's it. And it was never enough.
It just really breaks my heart with Cam. He was the only one that actually really, even before watching that heartfelt video he posted, when I just heard he got released, I was just hard because I'm like, I see this guy becoming like for what he did and on NXT with like him versus LA Knight for the $1 million championship, what he did with Ted DiBiase. I want to see what he can do on the main roster, and it just never got that opportunity because he became just I will never call I hate the word geek. I hate it. I'll just basically say
Just some guy.
He's just a face to establish
Joe
another
Schmo,
star.
average Joe. There you go, average Joe.
An average Joe, yeah, sure. But I feel like if he went down to NXT, it's just because he was such a nice guy. He's such a pop. Gets good crowd reactions, especially with the NXT crowd. I would have loved to just see what he could have done. Jinder did nothing for me with his release. Let me put it this way. Von Wagner. I don't care. And I don't even remember most of the other names that were released. That's how much it left an impact on me.
And just Cher and Zion Quinn.
Apparently Veer is never coming. Or he did come and then he came and then he really got released.
This is a family show, not really.
Oh, it's not. For all the years you think it's still a family show? Sorry, fool, it's not. But yeah. He was Cameron Grimes is the only one that okay, back to the draft. That I shifted the conversation. But there's plenty of opportunities, but there's also just ones that are just hard to think about. Because I just think, well, what do we see someone like Kevin Owens going to Raw or NXT? Ooh, Kevin Owens to NXT would be an interesting one since they want to have established stars on that brand to rise the rank of the NXT brand, because that's Nick Khan's big goal, is to make it feel like it's a brand on level with Raw and SmackDown. Okay, cool. That would be a fun one. See, it's like it's really just ones that are just popping. Like when you really think about it, it's kind of hard. But then just think, oh, could be. I don't know, but at least it makes it very interesting and see where they're gonna go. I don't think the new Bloodline's going anywhere.
Nah, I think the Bloodline is gonna most likely stay right where they are. I think they're fine. With that, no other names are really jumping to mind. But then again, I feel like this is that rare moment when I'm okay with that, strictly because with this new Triple H led regime, I feel like for the most part, no matter what other switches, drafts, or trades end up happening, it's all going to be for the positive, and it's all going to actually do what it was intended to do, which is basically refresh the roster and start off a fresh batch of storylines and matches.
As long as they keep the draft, like if they're being serious about this draft, don't have people don't have just consistent Raw and SmackDown guys showing up on opposite brands. Because that's always the one thing that people really criticize about the draft and having split rosters in general. That's people's big criticism, is that they don't hold by those rules. Because obviously you can't have a Raw show and then SmackDown guys show up. But now that the tag titles are now officially split, which that's even interesting. What do you guys think of the new tag titles designs?
Love them. Way, way better, way more prestigious, especially very nostalgic. The Raw tag team titles are just phenomenal. The SmackDown tag team titles are just nostalgic, pure nostalgia bait for those of us who were watching during the Attitude Era. Love them.
Mm-hmm. I just like that the tag titles are essentially smaller versions of the world title. It's actually very interesting. It's actually it's like, clever. But I do agree. The WWE tag team ones are, I think it's just because of the nostalgia. It hits better. But
100%.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's nothing really more else to say about it, really. It's just more just throwing names. But hopefully, as long as they keep the brands actually separated, then I'll just look forward to see what new stories we could possibly get with this new draft.
For sure. And when I proposed it, I wasn't even expecting like a full on fantasy draft, just more like, are there any standout thoughts? But even then, like I said before, like with this new era of WWE, I am fully in for the ride. I don't need to know every single little detail. I'm just in for the ride. But all that being aside, that is our thoughts for AEW, WWE, the draft as a whole, and everything that has been and is coming up. But now is the time in the show where we turn it over to you, our fellow fans. What'd you think of AEW Dynasty? What is the fallout going to be from Jack Perry's attack on Tony Khan? And where is everyone going in the WWE draft? If you're watching this while the draft is in progress, are you seeing what you thought you'd see? No matter what you think, let us know all across the internet, YouTube comments, Facebook posts, and our personal favorite, or at least the most popular, on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it these days. Join in the conversation with us personally. Cool. Where can they reach you?
You can reach me at the Avatar.
And Coach, where can he reach you?
You can reach me at HeroHuey316.
And you can find me just enjoying everything and taking it all in at I'm Robbie Rage. And for all of these relevant social media links and much more, just check us out at our link tree in the description below. That's linktree/Scholars of Wrestling. What a mouthful. And with that out of the way, now
like the
we are
video,
all...
subscribe, all that.
Yes, if you're watching on the YouTube video, that is. But either way, we're all ready for whatever's next. Come whatever may, we're going to be watching, and we'll break it all down next time, because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you all for the WWE Draft.